Non, je l'ai dit, Léo il marque tout le temps. Demain il va marquer, c'est sûr. Moi j'essaye juste d'aider mon équipe à chaque fois à marquer. C'est sûr que quand tu marques autant de buts en Coupe du Monde, ça te fait évoluer dans certaines sphères. Mais voilà, j'aurais aimé ne pas être le meilleur buteur de l'histoire et jouer demain le match. Donc je pense que c'est bien pour tout ce qui est héritage et quand on va arrêter de se dire que j'ai été un de ces joueurs-là. Mais aujourd'hui, c'est pas la première chose qui traverse mon esprit.
Merci Kylian. Medal, you've got the match ball, but wow, that was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. Obviously, we're both still quite disappointed to not be in the final, but it was about finishing strong, and for us, giving the country the best position in the World Cup they finished for around 60 years, so we're happy with the final result.
What won it for England in the end? Because for large parts of that second half, France were very much on the front foot.
I think the first half won it for us. You know, we won the first half, they won the second half, and obviously in the end we got the 2 goals to win the game. So I'd say that's how the game went.
A word on your penalty, the pressure on your shoulders. Then was Jude going to take it, and he gave it to you?
No. Jude was never taking it. To be fair, he was the first one to say, "Go and get your hat trick." He was just holding the ball for me, so none of them come and try and distract me. But yeah, I was always going to take it.
You are going to get the headlines with your hat trick. A lot of people will be asking why you haven't played more in this tournament. Do you feel you could have played a bit of a bigger part?
Of course, I would love to have played more, but you know, it's too late to talk about that. You know, I just try to do my talking on the pitch, and yeah, it's done now, and let's move on.
And the Arsenal fans in particular, I'm sure, will be wondering just how fit you are, because you certainly looked out there.
Yeah, I'm fit.
And you've had a few days to reflect from the disappointment. How do you look back on England's tournament as a whole?
Yeah, I would say we built and built across the tournament. We had some amazing results, and in the end we fell short against Argentina, and yeah, it hurts a lot to all of us, and I'm sure it's the same for the fans back home, but we have to hold our head high and move on and focus on the next one. That's what I say.
Finally, yesterday John Stone said he doesn't like the noise around the manager. How do you feel about that?
I think it's just part of the game. You know, when you lose, there's always going to be noise. When you win, there's going to be noise. It's how you react to it, how you use it as fuel. And yeah, today we finished strong, so that's what we could really do, and we done it.
Well played today. I know you didn't want the bronze, but it's a medal at least. Well done.
Ah, bless you, Bukayo. And as you can see, what a wild game. Look at the first half stats compared to the second half. We have got plenty of analysis for you. It might take us till 6 in the morning, but do stay with us. There's plenty to get through. But what a crazy game. We've even had to put the score on the floor here in studio, just to remind ourselves of the score.
To remind Danny Murphy.
I love that when Danny said, what was the score? But what a crazy game.
It was brilliant in the fact of what we wanted to see was we wanted to see front foot football, and we got it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw Saka there, how much he's hurting, how much these players, I mean, how fit was he? Do you know, he obviously didn't, he felt he could have offered something, but at least tonight he gets an opportunity to give a performance, but you get that feeling that he wanted to play in the last game and he didn't get that opportunity.
Well, especially that last answer says so much, doesn't it?
Even the Argentinian manager was saying, I don't know why Saka didn't take to the bit. So we'll always be looking back, but we have to look forward now. And the manager, everyone learns from it going forward, and let's hope they do that.
OK, let's hear from Thomas Tuchel. He's with Kelly.
Well, Thomas, wow, what a way for England's World Cup to finish. Try and sum that up for me if you can.
Well, difficult. It's enough for 4 matches. What happened here? We had a brilliant first half and then a turbulent second half. You could see the difference what one day makes and the difference in the schedule. We're just so tired and drained from the last weeks. So massive compliment and for respect, the mentality that we showed and going through all the adversity, absolutely brilliant.
Given what happened in the semi-final, did you ever fear that you weren't going to be able to see it out tonight?
If I was in fear,
I said, given what happened on Wednesday against Argentina, the way you lost the lead, did you ever fear that you wouldn't be able to see it out tonight?
I was afraid of the physical demand of the match because we know the quality and speed of France, and they have much less. The schedule for them was just less demanding. They had 1 day more in between the semi-final to digest, and they had way less travel distances than us. So the sums just up for us. We played in the heat, overtime, and in altitude and whatever. So I was worried physically, and yeah, you could see it in second half, all the cramps, all the tiredness. But I was never worried about the mentality. I said it before. This team created something very special, and they showed it again.
What changed at the drinks break as well? Because it felt like you had more control after that, or was it as simple as bringing on Jude Bellingham and Elliot Anderson?
Not sure if we had more control. We had just fresher legs and then quality players again, and the others were tired. And again, like France played in the full flow and then full risk. This will come after. We will still feel the pain when we know tomorrow is the final and all that. So this will take a while, but overall, it gives me more energy than it takes from me.
Thanks, Thomas. Well done.
Very revealing interview. You probably heard Oasis "Don't Look Back in Anger" as well in the background. Is that how Thomas Tuchel needs to reflect on the World Cup now? Don't look back in anger.
Well, he'll carry the scars because obviously that does impact on you. There was a fight though, and there was a reaction. But what he needs to do now for the future is develop a game plan where they can control games in a better fashion. I think that's what Spain have shown us against France, and we didn't quite show that tonight. As much as the game had enterprise and so much interest at either end, it got a little bit hairy there. So look, in the future, develop a game for us to do that. And I think the players are there. That's the encouraging thing. We saw a reaction from the players. There's enough ability there. It's just the manager getting it right, who the players are going to be at the right moments.
Stephen, Tuchel's been hammered for the substitutions and the defensive retreat against Argentina, but he got his substitutions back on tonight.
Yeah, he did. And the big thing was that arguably one of them was a midfield change which gave us more ability to press in that central area, which is probably what we needed against Argentina. The other one was Bellingham, which allows you to win free kicks, it allows you to hold the ball up, it allows you to take pressure off the team, it allows you to drive up the pitch, which is completely different to what we saw the other day. The big thing about losing a football game is how you react to it and how you learn from it. Now, the players will learn from it, but also the manager has to learn from it as well. I think there's been a lot of talk about Bellingham, Tuchel talking about how he's not disappointed with the changes he made in the Argentina game. He stands by them. But I think deep down, I think he'll look back on it in time and think, I could have been a little bit more proactive. I think he's probably looked at that over the last couple of days and thought, I can do more. Today he's done that. It had a positive effect towards the end of the game. But I agree with Martin. You don't want to get to that point where you're 4-0 up and suddenly you go to 4-3 and you think, hang about. Like, we shouldn't be in this position. We should be controlling this game. You'd think if Spain went 4-0 up, they'd be able to control it a lot better. It might get to 4-2, but it'd never get too close.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Martin, I go back to that point I made earlier in that question to you about, let's remember what this game is and what it means compared to a World Cup semi-final. Because it did seem as if the players were enjoying tonight. And yet, in the last 15 minutes, there did appear to be a fear in the eyes of those England players, knowing what was coming and the onslaught that Argentina put in front of them.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, obviously, we all know what the goal was to come here and win the World Cup. And this isn't a consolation, but this is the first step back. You know, the Phoenix has to rise out of the ashes. You have to react. And there's been a reaction tonight. As bitter as they all feel, you know, they've given a good account of themselves this evening. So that's the first step. Of course, now we get to another tournament. How much have we learned? We were being told that Thomas Tuchel would give us something a bit different, something in the moment. But we found out that it's still very tough. It doesn't matter about what you've won before when you come into this job. You know, people were saying Gareth Southgate didn't quite have that in the moment. Well, he didn't do a bad job when you look now. But he's taken us to the expectation level has risen. Thomas Tuchel couldn't quite take it there to the next step. I think, though, we're on a decent pathway. And if these people can stick together, can learn from this, and he can educate the players to play with more freedom. Because when he talked about DNA, it looked like he was having a little bit of a go and detaching himself from that and saying, look, something I can't control. Yes, he can. I've been there with a foreign manager, with Arsene Wenger, who made sure that we played with total belief and anything was possible. An attack, all-out football was what we played. So I think they come out with this with a level of credit tonight, picking up these medals.
It's a home European Championships, as we see Harry Kane leading the squad up to get their bronze medals. It's a home European Championships as well. What does this squad learn from that sort of heartbreak, Stephen?
Well, how do you develop? How do you emulate what Spain are doing, what Argentina are doing? If you can get a blend of Spain and Argentina, which is the ability to control the game, the ability to be horrible to play against, to be streetwise in the way that Argentina are. That's the blend you're looking for. Are we a product of our own Premier League where it's fast, it's frantic, it's overpaced at times? However, we've got so many European foreign players within our league, you wouldn't think it's just that. Also as well, is it what's going on in our grassroots? Can we develop more from grassroots, from the young ages up until senior football?
Well, this is what I was saying earlier about whether Thomas Tuchel talking about the DNA, Martin, whether it comes from grassroots right the way to international elite level, in terms of when you see Argentina, you know what you're going to get. They're going to keep fighting to the end and they'll drag you into a street fighting battle. Spain will control a football game. Yeah,
100%. And I think you look at the difference in the abilities of our centre midfielders more so than anything, in the way that they demand the ball under pressure all the time. I mean, there's the old saying, like, they'll take a ball in the phone box and keep it off you. That's the type of player that you want in tight situations, that can draw fouls and can keep the ball.
But what he did say when he took the job was that there wasn't a clear identity and there wasn't a clarity in the way that the England team plays. They don't play with a rhythm. And he has to ask himself, was he able to bring that to the table?
Well, the answer is no.
No. So, look, it's a learning curve. It's not as easy as all of that.
It's a nice touch to see Jason Steele coming up, who's been part of the squad. Because he's been helping out the squad all the way through the tournament, and I think that's epitomises what this squad's all about. There's a real togetherness, and you can see there Jordan Henderson and Harry Kane bringing him up to the stage. Lovely touch.
And remember, Jude Bellingham, first England player to score 7 goals at a World Cup, overtaking Gary Lineker in 1986, Harry Kane 2018 and 2026, and further cementing Bellingham's reputation in world football.
Well, he's been immense. I mean, he must be one of the top players in world football right now. The way he drives through midfield, his technique in front of goal, it's all there. He's a top-class international player that we can build around. You know, we have the basis there. I mean, if you look, we've got decent players. Can Harry Kane go to another championship? I think he'd go to the Euros. Does he do a World Cup? Maybe too much. But we do need to find another centre forward, that's for certain, because we seem to have now a big hole in our game with strikers. But Harry Kane's been immense. You can never question him in an England shirt.
There were also a couple of key lines from that interview with Thomas Tuchel with Kelly Summers about a turbulent second half. He was worried about the players being tired and drained, and he was afraid of the physical demands. Let's face it, England have been involved in some real tough encounters, notwithstanding that game at the Azteca.
Yeah, and also when he was talking about France's travel, you think of France where they located themselves. They were based out of New York, and then they had games in Boston, New York, and I think the other one was, Philadelphia. So there was very little travel. The travel in America, it takes out of here, the jet lag, the travelling on a plane, the dehydration, the recovery after you've travelled. There's an awful lot going into it, and that's something that you have to take into account as well. But the England fans who've travelled far and wide, sat at home watching, they probably don't take that just into account as much as how much they put themselves through, these players. The concern for me would be is that Thomas Tuchel's talking about late on in the tournament how fatigued the players are. If they had to play a final tomorrow, do you think they'd be fatigued? Absolutely not. So I think there's an element of emotionally they are absolutely drained because of losing the semi-final, and that's probably more so what he's talking about, that side of it. And again, lovely touch from Thomas Tuchel with Steele there.
In terms of Harry Kane, Martin, main man for the Euros and the next World Cup?
Well, certainly the next Euros. I think he can go again. But, you know, you're building. I thought Spence, actually, you talk about players who you should give a mention to, people who maybe exceeded expectations, who didn't start the competition that well. I thought he's been immense. We've seen not much of Saka. You can see there's still maybe there's a friction with the manager, but that's good. You know, we saw Bellingham play really well because of maybe a friction with the manager when he asked for more from him. Morgan Rogers seemed to be the 10, and Bellingham then kicked on, and what a tournament he's had. So these relationships are building, and the manager then will needs to find a way to educate the player to understand at key moments how they retain the ball instead of kicking it to touch or kicking it away against Argentina. And let's not forget, we played against a very good World Cup winners, current holders, proud men with Messi on the pitch. You know, one of the best players we've ever seen. People say he's 38 years of age, but maybe he's playing his best football now. Maybe it's the most balanced Messi we've ever seen. And there's a collective around him. yes, we brought some of that problem to our own doorstep by retreating in the way we did. I don't think we'll do that again if we're in the same situation next time round. So Tuchel needs to be given that opportunity.
And do you still stand by Thomas Tuchel in terms
100%.
of European Championships? Is he still the
100%.
man? Because it seems that there are varying views amongst
anger, and you can understand all of that. But it'd be a complete waste of time if we weren't to stick with this man. What he's learned, what he's understood. I think he's intelligent. I think he can learn. I believe he's an elite manager, having won the Champions League and won titles in various different countries. No, I think we should support him. We thought we'd get a little bit more. I was surprised at some of the decisions.
But that's the key point, because it was understood that Thomas Tuchel was going to be the difference between England finishing third, fourth, knocked out in the quarterfinals and winning the thing.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing thing with this is that we all thought he was going to be the guy who took the handbrake off. We all thought he was going to be the guy, and I did as well. At the start of the tournament, I was looking at some of the changes he was making. He took Declan Rice off, he put Morgan Rogers on. He was constantly changing the wingers, which I thought was always a positive. I was just disappointed that he retreated so quickly in that game, and I thought it would be more aggressive in the way that he...
So are you standing by the manager, Stephen?
I am too. Yeah, I am. I think every manager deserves... I mean, listen, he's lost one game in a World Cup.
It's a big one, though.
Yeah, it's a huge game, but you've got to be able to learn, to progress with this team of players, to understand the capabilities.
On reflection, Steve, I think on reflection, we changed our back four so many times. We had lots of changes. We were never really certain who was the best right winger, who was the best left winger. There were core players that were in charge of their positions. And if you look at the other teams, Argentina particularly, we pretty well know their 11. And there's a loyalty to some of those players, whereas that didn't quite happen with Thomas Tuchel through this tournament.
Okay, congratulations to England and the bronze medals. Should we do some analysis?
Let's do it.
Okay.
How long have we got?
Right, let's start with Kylian Mbappé to make it 4-1.
I mean, well, the thing is when you know you've got Mbappé on the pitch, it's always a danger. Ollie Watkins here on that left-hand side, Upamecano straight into the action, and then what you see here is France forward three. They drop off the back line of England, and that's what causes a danger, because when you've got that space in behind and you've got that run, you know where that ball's going to go. It's so difficult to defend against. Brilliant finish from Mbappé.
Look, I don't want to dig out players, but Ollie Watkins has lost the ball. It's another example. It can happen. He's just come off the bench. But you cannot lose the ball cheaply, because at this level, you get absolutely punished.
Okay. And then it's 4-2.
Who was it? Yeah, Barcola.
Hang on, let's check our notes.
But this is the one where Ezri Konsa's got to look at his position. Konsa, he's looking inside. I think when you look at his position, but Konsa's the one for me. If there's no pressure on the ball, you can't go and affect Mbappe. You've got to drop deep. You've got to narrow off. You can potentially then stop that ball going into Barcola, and that's
Konsa's too high, isn't it? He's just simply too high. He needs to be on the same line.
Yeah, and then that's the problem. And Konsa has to deepen himself as well to expect that ball. If it then goes into his feet, not a problem. You can deal with that. But that ball in behind, we talked about it with Rashford and Saka in the first half. Pacing behind kills you.
Can we also just praise the finishing that we've seen tonight as well?
It was okay.
Absolutely top draw. You have to say, don't you?
Top notch.
These players running at you is frightening.
Kylian Mbappé then became the outright top goal scorer at the FIFA World Cup. 22 goals, one ahead of Lionel Messi, and it's 4-3.
Yeah, and I think we all started to get a little bit nervous in the studio here when we saw this goal, but the link-up play, the little over from Elise, the 1-2, it's just clinical. It's so quick. Danny says it in commentary. Sometimes you cannot stop this type of football. It's so quick, it's so precise, it's so accurate that it's unstoppable. And listen, when you've got Mbappe getting on the end of it, it's very difficult to stop.
Incredible link-up between these two players, Elise and Mbappe, and they've credit to the manager bringing him into that position. I mean, look, 10 goals, 4 assists.
Look at this.
That's not bad.
Over to you, Lionel Messi, tomorrow night.
Oh, absolutely.
He'll react, though, won't he? He will definitely react to this.
Yeah. And then France had all those chances, and at this point, England were well under the cosh.
Yeah, they were, and it was a case of, can you make changes? Can you affect the game? We talked about it before, and he was able to do that. But then France were still creating opportunities. Elise here finds himself free. No one stepped out towards him.
What's he done there, Stephen? Has he been trying to be too precise there?
He's not wrapping his foot around it.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. Difficult. I mean, look, these were really gilt-edged opportunities for France, and they were rampant.
Would you see Dembele scoring?
Well, I think he just needs a bit more clinical in front of goal. I mean, they were a bit off tonight, luckily, but it was wave after wave. This one is one here. Look, how has he missed this off his right foot? You know, I think he gets cramp after that.
I mean, it's a beautiful touch from Elise, isn't it? It's a beautiful touch. And then you're expecting the net to bulge.
He's such a clever player. I mean, the one where he opens his foot, he opens it ever so slightly, and that's the fine margins of football. But listen, when they go forward and they create opportunities like that, for a defender, it's very, very difficult to stop.
Yeah. But I think you have to applaud England then at this point. They responded. And we talked about the Argentina game where they didn't want to go forward. But Spence, who's been one of the standout players, he breaks forward. He has that endeavour. I want to get forward. I want to affect the game. He grabs a penalty. And then that's an important moment for England.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. No doubt. Definite penalty.
Oh, no doubt. And it's all down to his pace. And it is a real commodity. If you've got this at any level, particularly at international level, look at this run he's going on. We've been under the cosh. His body's in the box. And look, it's a poor tackle and a definite penalty. And that pretty well cleaned it up for him. But
the other thing I'd say about that is the easy option there is not to make the overlap. The easy option is to go, do you know what, we're going to hold as a 4 here. But the brave thing is to make that overlap. It's to go beyond. It's to try and affect the game in a positive way.
Is that because of the momentum of the game and the type of game it is?
What tonight?
Yeah.
A little bit, but when you do it against Argentina, when you're backs against the ropes, you've got to take your winger the opposite way. You've got to take Dembele back towards his goal. You saw Dembele there on the edge of his box. Suddenly you're taking them back. Well, the threat's less going the other way now. So that's the positive effect of making those forward runs. And then obviously Saka steps up and slots the penalty in beautifully.
He does indeed. Right. Let me just check my notes. Oh, there's another one as well. Here we go, Dembele.
Oh, yeah. Dembele again. I mean, this was where it was like I was just saying about the Americans that would have thought it was a basketball match. It was so end to end, and you know, with Dembele and his quality on the pitch, when he comes inside there again. I mean, look. I mean, I'm shouting from the sideline, and I'm saying to Steve, if I'm the centre half there, I'm going to have to help you, because as soon as he comes inside, look. It's a goal.
Yeah, but don't you think it's just that little move
it is,
there?
but we all know he's going to come inside, but we see it in the modern day game. We very rarely see any support for the fullback when they come inside, and that's something I'd like to see change. The defending needs to be better. For all of the goals I've seen in this World Cup, it's been amazing, hasn't it?
Yeah. Are you saying Keown's smashing Dembele then?
I'm saying I'd like to see a little bit better defending here and there. Because we talk about tactics as much as we want, but even for England, you know, if we mark better from the cross that comes from Messi, then maybe we go to the final. So it does come down to how well you defend.
And then Jude Bellingham seals it for England.
Absolute superstar, isn't he? And just that ability to run with the ball, to receive the ball in tight spaces, that strength. But this is, I mean, the ability to run. But then it's about the little step over here, just to get himself half a yard, to get him into the box. Now the defender's in trouble. And the reason he's in trouble is because he can't dive in. And that's what you want to get yourself. You want to get yourself in the penalty area.
How strong is he?
Players.
Look, it's a buccaneering run, isn't it?
Yeah, he's so powerful.
He's going, he knows what he wants to do. His head's down, look, little shimmy. And then he comes across, little dummy to shoot. And he just keeps going. He will not be stopped, this young man. I mean, he is the future of our England team now.
Yeah,
he's been immense.
He's the centrepiece, isn't he, for European Championships and future World Cups?
And you know, a young man, he goes off to a foreign country. You know, he tears it up in Spain. We should be proud, really, of his performances, and he still has a massive future. He's only 23 years of age.
And look at him, so athletic, Stephen, in the way he runs, in the way he wins those free kicks as well. You know, when you're looking for somebody to just take control of the game, maybe he needs to have a bit more responsibility in terms of that, but also having that composure in front of goal.
Yeah,
incredible.
It's incredible, but I think the big thing that you can look at Jude Bellingham is, I think you could play him as a 6, an 8 and a 10 and a 9. I think he's got that ability to play right through the spine of the team.
But where would you play?
You get him a top performance off him. I'd play him as a 10. I think in that 10 position, he's got that ability, but you've got to get players around him that feed that ball into him, who are brave at break the lines, and then he can play a little bit higher up on the shoulders.
Where would you play him, Martin?
Do you know what? Having looked at him here, because his defensive capabilities have really shone out, I think you could almost play him in a 2. You could sit him alongside in that midfield. And maybe, I don't know if he's at his best with his back to goal, when he's running with the ball in front of him, I think he's at his best. And it's to get him on the turn to do that can be tricky if he's in the 10. So he's a wonderful talent. There's no doubt about that. But we need to find the right position for him in that midfield.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you, Stephen.
Are we done?
Lovely to see you. We're
no
done.
more. No
We're done.
more.
No more goals.
Thank you. Remember, 7 o'clock BBC One for the final tomorrow. It's been a World Cup that's been unprecedented in so many ways, and over the past bit of fun along the way. Thank you for watching. From all of us here, good night.